And now I'm very excited to welcome the CEO of all of Circa Sports and Mr. Derek Stevens to the Odds Breakers podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Derek J. Stevens. Derek, I hear there's a big game coming up, my man.
Yeah, we got the big game. We're ready. We've been practicing for this for a decade or so. So we're gonna have seven big game bash parties. Ranging in size from about 150 up to about 8,000. So we are ready, prepared, and looking forward to it.
Oh man, I bet. But geez, before we get into that, aren't you still kind of catching your breath a little bit from all the contests? I mean, it feels like this casino was just built like yesterday, man. I mean, how's it going with that?
Good. I mean, it was great. We finished, Circa Millions 3, and we finished the second year of Circa Survivor. Everything about it worked out great, other than us getting stuck for that guarantee at the Survivor. But overall, everything worked out great. I was happy. Five participants went 20-0, made it through some of the pitfalls of the season, and we had a total between those five and then the one individual Derbyfy that won the Circus Sports Millions. We were able to give out, 6 7-figure checks. So I think that's a record in football contest history. And really, we hit a home run on another level. All 6 entrants were spectacular. They were fun to be around. Spent a lot of time here and were great on media. And, if we would have had one contestant that was great for media and fun to be around, we would have said we'd have been in good shape, but we went 6 for 6. So I was so happy for those guys and for myself and my team to give out those checks. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, massive checks. I could not believe how big that thing got, man. And that was just a fantastic job done by Circa. The contests are just so fun. People don't understand, some people that, might not be large bettors, you have to understand this is an investment throughout the whole season. It excites you every single day. So I'm pumped every year to get in. Thank you so much for doing that, Derek. So getting into the contests, is there just kind of a little tease for next year? Are you going to be making any changes to them? And possibly, I'll give you something that some people talk about, maybe making the Thursday game a little bit more attractive by possibly allowing people to select that game and the rest of the card later. Or is there any tweaks in the plans?
Yeah, I think we tweaked out Survivor from year 1 to year 2. Remember, in year 1 we had 35 contestants go 18-0 undefeated. So we added in a couple of nuances to the one this year. We had the additional game by the NFL, and then we added in the Christmas component, and we still had 5 contestants go undefeated at 20-0. We knew there'd be more contestants this year, so we thought that kind of toughened it up a little bit, and at the end of the day, it worked out great. But myself, Mike Palm, Chris Bennett, Jeff Benson, Matt Metcalf, we're all going to sit around and talk. We got to get through Super Bowl weekend, and we'll get together for lunch and we'll hash it out. Over a lunch one day. We might tweak out a couple things, but then again, we might not. So I don't have much to lead in for you. We want to make sure it stays competitive. We want to make sure it stays fair. That's critical. And then, I'm at the bar every night. Everybody's giving me different ideas of what to do. And I love that, actually. I love it when people come up to me and say, hey, my buddies and I were thinking about this, thinking about that. One thing I have to say, though, is that, the Thursday game component has come up many times. There's a couple things to consider. One, we got to be respectful of proxies, because the amount of time proxies basically have to live here and the complexities and the risks of their job are huge. So I got to be cognizant of what's the physical availability of proxies to get their picks in. So that's one component. The other thing, which is pretty black and white to us, but it's not really well known, has to do with system requirements and system capabilities. On the millions, as an example, all 5 entries for the millions have to go in at one time. It's not as if you could put in, let's say, one on Thursday and then the other 4 on Saturday, or if there's other game times where you can hold off on making on a Monday night selection, because the system and the software is not set up to be able to handle that. So there are some software limitations on what we can do, which eliminates some of the pretty good ideas.
Right, software. Yep, and that's obviously something that needs to be tested probably a bunch before the season to make sure it's going to work correctly. That would be a lot of paperwork if you had to do some stuff manually. That's for sure. Well, no, great answer. Still staying on the contest. I'm a big college football fan. A lot of my colleagues are. Wondering if it's time to bring in a little college to the contest at the Circa. Not sure if that's something you ever thought about, but as you know, college has a lot more games up to in the 60s sometimes in some weeks, and was wondering if that's something you ever thought about.
Yeah, that got brought up a couple years ago. It got brought up last year. I assume it's going to get brought up every year. The element with college is there's some similarities to my first answer to you, and that is you got to be cognizant of what the capabilities are of the proxies. How do they get the picks in? And then what games are you going to put up, and what type of offering are you going to have? I have a little concern that we wouldn't get enough volume. I mean, the NFL is such a big deal, and I think in college, to make it worthwhile, you really need to have $1,000 entry. Unless you just do something in an automated system where people go to kiosks, but that's not really our brand. And at $1,000 entry, I would say we certainly wouldn't be capable, or I should say, having a desire of putting up $1 million guarantee. I just don't think we could get the volume, and that's really my hesitation on it. The complexities of all the different games and the lines and the line movements, it'd be pretty cool. But I think there's just an issue with regard to volume. I mean, think about it this way: on some of the college contests, you can get in for $100. Well, it's not going to work with a proxy because it's not going to be worth their time. There has to be something of value, and that's why we prefer to put on big entry, big payout contests that make sense for everybody.
And that's a great answer. I think a couple of my college buddies might have to just get us all together and see how much push we can have to get enough entries into something like this, because I think it would just be fantastic to have both ends of the spectrum. So what kind of entertainment are you going to be offering for the big game coming out? And I got to tell you, man, I've been to the Circa a few times, and there's no better place to watch a game, especially as a sportsman. If you're not going to the game itself, there's no better place I'd be than Stadium Swim or something like that, man. What do you got going on?
Well, we've got, out of our seven parties on Sunday, we've got 4 of them that are open to the public and retail events. We've got 3 of them that are private casino events. Each one of the retail events is pretty unique and pretty special. Stadium Swim is one of them. We'll have a few thousand people at Stadium Swim. The downtown Las Vegas Event Center, like I said before, that's 8,000 people. Another outdoor environment. We've got our Detroit Ballroom over at the D, so that's a 400 person retail party. And then we've got Bar Canada at the D, where that'll be a couple hundred people. Each environment's a little bit different. It really depends upon the group you're coming with. If you're coming with yourself and a buddy, or yourself and your wife, you could kind of fit in anywhere. If you're coming in with a group of 60 or 80, some of the bigger venues are probably more up your alley. So the entertainment, I would tell you, sometimes you got to let the game play itself. We've been open with everybody about what we're playing. We're playing audio for all the commercials, because an awful lot of people love seeing these commercials. And this year, when it's hitting $7 million for 30 seconds, a lot of people want to see what's coming out there. And and we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. I certainly can tell you we got a couple of tricks up our sleeve up at Stadium Swim that includes a whole lot of input from the fire marshal with pyro and other things like that. So we're going to create our own party on top of the party we're going to see at halftime and after the game.
That is absolutely fantastic. Are there still some cabanas available or any tables to rent?
I think we've got a new configuration for Super Bowl. We got about 4 or 5, I think, poolside booths left. There might be a cabana, but by the time this airs, there might not be. It's definitely gonna be sold out. All of our venues will sell out. We learned a little something from the past that you don't have to worry about selling out. Before Championship Sunday. You kind of let the teams and let people develop their schedules. Like, for example, this year, we've historically had a lot of Rams fans that come out for Super Bowl. And we always thought, well, if the Rams make the Super Bowl, they're going to want to hang out at home. And that's kind of what we've seen. But the demand from other groups has been pretty intense. So it really started off on the Monday after Championship Sunday, and the booking's been good. We just didn't want to sell out too early like we have in years past.
That makes total sense to me. I'm excited for it, and hopefully, I'm sure it's going to be a massive event at both locations, the D and the Circa. Can't imagine a better place to be. Are you going to be placing a wager, Derek, on the big game itself?
I'm probably not going to. I'm not going to say definitively not, but I'm probably not. And the reason is that we started taking a lot of six-figure bets, six-figure parlays. Our CFO, I'm on a group text with our sportsbook guys and our officers. And what's really amazing to me is the amount of money that is getting wired in from across the country. We got a 7-digit wire that's coming in this afternoon. We've had a lot of $500,000 wires, and everybody's really calling in advance, like, hey, how much can I get down, type of thing. So that's what Matt Metcalf and CB and Jeff Benson are kind of dealing with everybody, letting them know, we'll take up to, we'll take $1 million bet, but you can't do it 2 minutes before kickoff. You got to let the guys work. I mean, that's one of the special things about Circa Sports. I mean, we developed a great customer base of a broad range of people, from regular football bettors to guys I would consider to be arbitrage guys, board cleaners, other things like that. And we got a pretty solid customer base with a lot of people with, 7 digits of cash in their accounts that really allow Circa Sports to be able to take big bets from an individual, because we know we got the ability to, to create a little bit of buyback when we need to. So I'm just amazed at the amount of money that's being wired in, starting yesterday. Today is unbelievable with the bank wires. Same thing's going to happen on Friday. And that's kind of the reason I'm not making a bet, because if I walk across the street and I go bet, I don't know, let's say 200,000 on a particular side or total, I don't want to be in a position that I'm looking at a seven-figure loss on the house side of things. So where I'm conflicted. So let's see. It might happen, but if it happens, it's going to happen right before kickoff for me.
All right, my man. No, that's great stuff. And I got a quick question that maybe you don't know. Is there any props that are sticking out that people are grabbing off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that we've seen here, which might be a little more specific to Circa Sports, has to do with the Circa Squares. We brought Circa Squares to the market 3 years ago when we kind of invented this and brought this out. And I think everybody knows, at a Super Bowl party, what a Squares board looks like, whether it's $1 board or it's $100 board, whatever. Once the board fills, you get assigned, the second digit or the back digit for each team. And, when you get that 5-5, you're not always too excited about what you picked. So what we did is we created Circa Squares, which allows you to pick the combination that you want. So if you want a 7 and a 3 or a 7 and a 0, you can actually pick your own combination. and the odds are different for every combination, and they're dynamic. They change. I mean, we posted it on Tuesday of last week, and I think almost every number's changed. We do it for the end of the first, second, third quarters, and then for the full game. So Circa Squares has been something that the volume on's just been, over the top. If I had to give you one tip on one that I kind of like a lot is I like on a Circa Squares, I like the 0-0 combination. It was plus 425 as of yesterday at the end of the first quarter. I think 10-0 or a 0-0 first quarter is pretty possible. I think plus 425 is some pretty good value. In the game itself, obviously with the two quarterbacks, these props are going to be dominated by quarterbacks. It's going to be dominated by passing yards, rushing yards for both Stafford and Burrow, and that's where we've seen the action so far.
Oh, great stuff, man. I'm guessing that the squares is kind of like a pari-mutuel thing, possibly. The odds change as things go in, and then obviously there's a pot for possibly each of them, correct?
Yeah, it's not quite pari-mutuel, but I would say it's very similar to what a futures pool would look like. Like, for example, who's going to win the World Series or who's going to win the Masters, that type of thing. If somebody comes in, who's going to win Waste Management Open? I mean, we took some huge bets on John Ram to win Waste Management, at plus 850, plus 825. Today he's at plus 650. Well, when that happens, all of a sudden you're getting a little more value because our guys, Jeff Davis, he's changing a lot of odds from guys that were 10-1 and 12-1 to 14 and 16-1. So we run the Circa Square similar to the way you'd run a futures pool.
Oh, that makes total sense to me. And this last question came up, and we have to ask you: are you going to be bringing this Detroit-style pizza to the Circa at any time soon?
Hey, I'm a good friend with Tony Giammattini. He's the founder of Pizza Rock, and what I can tell you, when he opened Pizza Rock, the one here downtown, right on 3rd Street. I talked to Tony and I asked him. I go, hey, how come you can't have Detroit-style pizza? He goes, what's amazing is at the pizza convention, which brings out like 80,000 people to Vegas. It's amazing. Wealthy people. It's amazing, this pizza convention. He said, the top 3 pizzas were all Detroit style, and I don't have one on the menu. I'm going to go to work on this and see what I can come up with. And I'm a lover of Detroit style pizza. So Tony says, hey, why don't you come back? I came up with something. He spent a couple of months working on it. So we brought our crew over, and Tony said, hey, I'm going to give you a Detroit style. I'm like, okay, how about mix one up and tweak it out with some toppings? And he calls it the Detroit Red Top. And the reason we don't have pizza at Circa or at the D Las Vegas is just because I'm such a big Pizza Rock fan, and I'm a big Detroit style pizza, and he just nailed it. I love it. So I don't want to go into competition with them. If you're part of our players club, you're in your comp dollars, you could spend them over there and all that. So that's the reason we kind of stayed out of a very popular food group. Just because we got one of the best in the country, just down the block.
Makes complete sense to me. It looks like it's going to be delivery from here on. Derek, where can our listeners and viewers sign up for these amazing Super Bowl parties and extravaganza?
Yeah, if you just go to circalasvegas.com or go to the D.com, you'll get all the information. If you follow us on Twitter, myself or Circa Sports or Circa Las Vegas, you're going to be able to find all the info you need. It's going to be this is definitely going to be the biggest Super Bowl that Vegas has ever seen. Certainly the biggest that we've ever seen. We expect to blow away the right numbers, and we expect to blow away the number of people. We've never had this many parties, and like I said, they're all going to be sold out. I think there's so much pent-up demand because a lot of people weren't able to travel last year and things like that. So we're pretty excited. This is going to be a bucket list party for everybody that makes it out to Vegas.
Oh, I agree, man. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute fantastic time. Make sure you guys check out the Circa, check out the D, check out Derek Stevens. Thank you, Derek, for coming on the show.
Hey, great to be on Oddsbreakers. Thanks a lot.